This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How we doing today on a Thursday? Just a few more days until Alabama takes on Tennessee this weekend. We appreciate everybody who's jumping in and joining us on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. You're watching us on the Bama Central YouTube channel, on the Bama Central Facebook page, on my own social media machines at Joe Gaither 6. You can find the show on your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon. We appreciate everybody who has subscribed, rated, reviewed the program on the favorite podcast platform, BUBBL, Red Circle, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find the Joe Gaither Show. We're proudly brought to you by Derek Daniel State Farm Insurance. I can't wait to get back in the Derek Daniel State Farm studios tomorrow. It's been a long, fun week. On vacation, but we appreciate Derek Daniel for keeping it warm for us. You can call Derek for all of your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. He's going to take care of you. You've got great employees ready to take your phone call and run you a very fast car insurance quote. Lane, Red, and Bobby are there upstairs ready to take your phone call at 205-758-3391. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. We're also proudly presented by Strength Roofing and Siding. If you've got roofing problems, if you've got roof damage, if you're worried about your roof, maybe some leakage in your house, call Strength Roofing and Siding at 205-858-9050. Really appreciate Zach Guffey of Strength Roofing and Siding joining us yesterday on the program. We had a lot of fun with Zach. He talked about all kinds of things Alabama and Tennessee related, and he also told you how Strength Roofing and Siding can make sure you have peace of mind every day in your home. So I appreciate Strength Roofing and Siding being a part of the program. Call them again today at 205-858-9050. We're going to have a lot of fun today with our man Theo Fernandez. You follow Theo at Theo Fernandez _ on the Twitter machine. Oh, man, Theo, did I type 2 underscores in today or just one?
Yeah, I think you got it right today.
All right, good.
Moment of truth. Yeah, I got the notification.
All right, good. Just double checking. Sometimes I don't think I forget that it's 1 or it's 2 or I'm lazy typing the underscores in on my end of the setup here.
That random French guy is probably very confused every time that happens.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully he's watching the program trying to figure out why we have the better Theo Fernandez and what he's doing wrong with his life. You can follow him again at Theo Fernandez _ on the Twitter machine, covering all things Crimson Tide for us at BamaCentral.com, doing great work for us on the intern front, and he's going to be a great journalist, or he already is a great journalist. But you guys need to be on the lookout for him post graduation. We're going to talk about Tennessee football. We're going to talk about Chris Brazzell today because I've been watching a lot more. I finished watching the Arkansas game. I'll watch the whole Mississippi State game. I'll watch part of Tennessee and Syracuse. Shoot, I watched Tennessee, Georgia like 4 times during the Georgia week. So I feel like I'm pretty prepared for Tennessee. No, I'm not going to really look at the ETSU game or the UAB game between now and the rest of the week. I mean, I guess I'll peek into it a little bit. We want to let everybody know that we're going to have Caleb Sisk join us on the program tomorrow from Tennessee Vols on SI. He's going to break down some Tennessee material for us tomorrow. We're actually recording this afternoon. So if you want the other side's perspective, we've been having a lot of fun. We've had consistency. Georgia to Vanderbilt, Missouri on SI reporters over the last 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And now we're going to have Caleb Sisk join us to make it 4 weeks in a row with an opposing viewpoint. We also had the Florida State writer as well. So we've been doing pretty good getting an opposing viewpoint on each week. We'll have Caleb Sisk join us tomorrow to talk about the Tennessee Volunteers. But we're going to keep talking Tennessee because it's the 3rd Saturday in October this Saturday. We want to know your perspective. You guys can leave us comments at Theo Fernandez _ at Joe Gaither 6 at Bama Central. You can leave us a voicemail, leave us a predictive voicemail if you want for Football Friday, 205-462-7340, extension 800. We're going to have a fun Football Friday program tomorrow and really be on track for the 6:30 kickoff right there in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Theo Fernandez was up in Birmingham getting his Big J journalism on Tuesday, talking to Nate Oates and the boys. And y'all stayed for the women, didn't you?
We did, yes.
Absolutely. So
a lot
everybody,
of good content out of them as well.
Equal opportunity coverage right here at BamaCentral.com. We appreciate that. We'll hear what Theo heard from the SEC Media Days on Tuesday. And also, by the way, Auburn lost last night their exhibition. Bama in Boutwell, the Barn in Boutwell, Auburn in Boutwell. We'll have Bama in Boutwell tonight against Florida State.
We also, I don't know, this kind of just came out 10 minutes ago, but on the Auburn track, Bruce Pearl will be joining TNT sports coverage.
No surprise. No surprise there.
I'm a little surprised. I thought I knew where he was taking his talents next.
Well, the Senate stuff's going to wait is what it seems like. I think that he is going to soak up a year of retirement and make sure that Stephen Pearl gets off the ground, ambassador to Auburn, but then also do a little TV work, make sure that he can make Auburn look good on TV to help the recruiting trail go.
Fair enough. Yeah, got it. He's the what's it called? It's the 2030 candidate.
Right. So
Von Baum gets a term, then him.
That's right. We got to get all the sports guys into the Senate ASAP if on the Alabama side. So I think he's going to basically hang around Auburn and be pseudo retired and make sure that Stephen Pearl is doing good at practice and that, and the other. Did you see him tweet last night? Bruce Pearl was tweeting, I guess Auburn had some defensive stops late in the game to force overtime, ultimately losing to Oklahoma State. But he was, after they got some stops, he's tweeting on the Twitter machine, Auburn won, gets good possessions, great coaching, Stephen. It was complimenting his son, and I just thought, oh man, I mean, if that was my son, I would be probably saying the same thing, but to me that's a little bit cringeworthy. Whoop. Theo said goodbye. Theo left the program, out the door. That's okay. What I want to do today is talk about defending Chris Brazzell, because I do think that Tennessee has a lot of talented pieces on their offensive side of the football. I want to talk about what he has done so far this year and what Kane Womack said about defending him and about putting one player on him. There we go. Did you hate me? You just left the building?
Yeah, I just had to, distance myself, clear my mind. You know how to do.
That's all good. Let's get into the actual program, Theo. Why don't we start, actually, with what you heard on SEC Media Days. It's nice and fresh on your mind. From the Alabama side, we'll keep this nice and Bama-centric. Nate Oates up there, Latrell Wrightsell, Houston Millette, and LeBaron Philon. The veterans of the program by now were all up in Birmingham at the oh gosh, what's the hotel called? At the Grand Bohemian.
Grand Bohemian, yes.
The Grand Bohemian Hotel. I hope you ate well, because usually it is good food.
Joe, I got to eat short rib on a Tuesday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. Apologies. Got the allergies going. But yeah, no, the food, as always, it just means more calories.
That's exactly right. It usually is pretty good at that event, honestly.
Yeah, no, we got that. We got some chicken. What did I have for dessert? Oh, I had cannolis for dessert.
Oh,
man. Yeah, they're chocolate covered, like candied pecans. It's a detrimental day for the cut, but it was awesome,
man. You cutting? You trying to fill out that T-shirt looking good?
Oh yeah, you give me till March, man. I'm on the grind.
All right, you gotta let me know what you're doing, because after this vacation, I thought, ooh, the belly's getting a little big here. I busted a button on one of my pants, and I thought I need to start making some adjustments.
Little cut for summer never hurt anyone, Joe.
Absolutely. So you need to fill me in on your tips off the air for that. What did you hear from Nate Oates? And are the boys excited, predicted to finish 4th in the SEC by the media? What did you hear from Coach Oates? Did anything stand out to you from the players? Just tell us about your time from the Grand Bohemian Hotel.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think, the biggest takeaway is just how much this team is stressing defense. Hunter Cyber's piece today was on Davion Hanna, and he used some insane praise for this freshman, saying that he was as good a perimeter defender as this program has seen since Herb Jones.
That's nuts. Keep going.
That is the kind of thing. That's not something. Oates is not the kind to go around, give his players, random compliments. Like, that is that's something that in my eyes at least, carries a lot of weight. And then also just, the defense as a whole. You bring in Brian Adams last year, and I think some people were maybe underwhelmed by the impact he had on the Bama defense. I think it was better at times, but also at times not the best still, especially when you bring in a guy like Cliff Amore. You're like, yeah, this can be an elite defense. Wasn't quite at that level. So what they were basically saying was that, first of all, Brian has adjusted. They were focusing less on guarding the NBA defenses because obviously, Alabama runs a more NBA defense, and Adams is used to playing NBA defenses, having coached the NBA since 2007, and I think that they're adjusting to guard some of the, maybe more stuff in the post, maybe more of these sets that colleges run a lot more. And then he also, Latrell Reitzel said that they usually start defense in June. They started it in May this year. It's the very first thing they did before the offense. I just think that this is a team and a program that understands that defense has been its downfall. You look at every single tournament game, every single season-ending loss for Alabama. 2021, you let UCLA go on a 7-0 run, defense falls apart in the Sweet 16, and all of a sudden the Bruins run away with the game because you can't stop them. 2022, you let Cormac Ryan go 10 of 13 from the field. A Notre Dame team that probably shouldn't have even made the tournament just runs them off the court. 2023, Brandon Miller, whatever. That was an interesting game. UConn, great team overall. But then you see that Duke game, a Duke team that lost to an SEC team the next round, a game that Alabama could have won. That just the defense, the offense wasn't great. The defense didn't really give them a great chance to stay in that game. So it's becoming such just like a kryptonite for this program. It's becoming the thing time and time again that gets Alabama's season ended. And I think that they are really, really ready to change that. You look at how good the 2023 defense was. I believe it was, I forget the ranking, but it was really high up there nationally. And
yeah, it was top 3, top 5.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I think Oates is really, really ready to get back to that. So I'm very excited to see what we do on that side of the court. I think they have the players to do it. I think you look at even Aiden Holloway. There's a guy that people kind of expected to be a defensive liability that really wasn't bad on that side of the court this year. And now that they're saying, yeah, he's taking a leap, he'll be a defensive leader almost. Houston Millette, he was one of my other takeaways in general because, man, that guy's awesome. He is. If you guys didn't see, Houston got named to Andy Katz's list of top 10 potential breakout players, and that guy is a basketball genius. That guy will be coaching high-level college basketball for the next 40 years. From the time once he works his way up to earning a job. Like this guy, he will be a high-level coach. His father's on the staff at South Carolina. He knows the game so well. He's talking about how he just understands it so much better having sat out the year. He's going to do some great things on the court. I'm pumped up for this season, much more so than I was heading in.
Yeah, I think look, we've heard this from Coach Oates for the last 5-6 years about how the team needs to grow defensively. And yes, the 2023 team was incredible at defense. We've seen it under Coach Oates how the offense has been really playing at a high level. Obviously, fast paced, but very analytically driven. I was excited about the defense when I got to see them in our little open practice. Last Monday night. So tonight. The team's going to be playing against Florida State. You're going to be able to see it on YouTube. It's not going to be on broadcast television. It'll be on YouTube, and you best believe I will be watching. I don't care who's playing Thursday Night Football in the NFL. The Bears aren't playing, so Bama basketball moves right up on the priority list to watch that on YouTube. I cannot wait for that. Bama in Boutwell. They're playing Florida State. Obviously, it's an exhibition. It doesn't count. Just like Auburn's loss last night doesn't count. It's just a chance to roll the ball out and see what you got. But I think you should be excited about this Alabama basketball team because I do think Aiden Sherrill is kind of going to be the linchpin of this defense. I think Houston Millette, if you can get him healthy, if you can keep him healthy, then he will be a very strong defender. The limited action that we saw him in last season, he was kind of a dog, kind of a dirty worker, kind of a I don't need to score kind of a player, but I'll get out there and get after it. So I really am excited about what he can be for the team if he is healthy. I'm concerned just about him and Latrell's long-term health on the season. I hope that Coach Oates eases both of those guys into the year. I know losing Jaleel Bethea with a broken toe is going to limit the rotation just a little bit. But I think that if you can ease both those guys in, Latrell and Houston, and then you get Jaleel Bethea back around the SEC start of the SEC play, I think this team is going to be sneaky good. You saw him preseason AP was like 15.
15, yes.
Ken Palm was 25. I think both of those numbers are going to shoot up, and I think that this team has a lot of the makings of a team that can compete for an SEC title and can go very far in the NCAA tournament. I really like Collins Onyeka from what we heard. I really think Taylor Bowen as a 4/5 is going to be is going to be a good weapon coming in from Florida State. I'm not sure really what Noah Williamson's impact is going to be from Bucknell, but
he's also a little banged up right now too, Williamson. So I don't know if we'll see him out there tonight, but yeah, he's one that's hard to forecast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coming in from Patriot League basketball.
But I think Keaton Bristow is going to surprise a lot of people as far as coming in from a smaller, was it Tarleton State, coming in from a smaller school. I think he looks really athletic and really long. If he can assimilate to the system, then I think he's going to be a pretty solid player as well. So there's a lot to like about this basketball team, and I can't wait to get it going tonight with Bama in Boutwell. The first game of the year, let's find out. Let's make sure how many days away we are from the first. Roll Tide Alabama basketball schedule is November the 3rd. So I'm going to be getting that math teacher song out. Oh, no, excuse me. October 26th. Well, that's an exhibition. That's an exhibition as well. November the 3rd is the official start of the season. So what are we going to do? That's a Monday, November 3rd. What if we aim to drop the math teacher song on Monday morning, November 3rd? Theo, you're not familiar with this yet, but you know that I've sensed you get you and Henry and Mason, lots of those Dan Le Batard parody songs, right? And yes. I don't know if you've ever listened to them. It's okay if you haven't, but I find them hilarious. Instead of he's a man eater or she's a man eater, right? The Hall & Oates song. Oh, here she goes. She's a man eater. It's he's a math teacher is going to be is the hook right there. So we'll be dropping that Monday morning, November 3rd, to get basketball season started. I gotta find a bunch of collections of Nate Oates photos to make my music video for. And we'll play that in the studio Monday, November 3rd. You have to give me a grade, Theo, if it's good or if it's bad. But
I'm excited.
I'm
for this.
The mountain air has ruined my throat right now, which it was a great time out there, but I will get that healed back up. I'm eating some cough drops, having Carrie gave me some throat spray to numb everything, but I will get that healed back and go, he's a math teacher, and put out a fun song too. I'll get everybody excited about Alabama basketball season. How about that?
Absolutely. And man, there's so much to be excited for, like we talked about. I mean, you play North Dakota, and then we go, because this is just insane. On the road, MSG, number 5 St. John's.
They're going down.
Number 1 Purdue. On the road, number 17 Illinois. And then in Vegas to play number 21 Gonzaga. I mean, it's just insanity. Nate Oates is an absolute psychopath, and I think every Alabama fan should be thankful he chose not to go into coaching football, because we'd be playing Ohio State, Oregon, like Miami every year as our non-conference. Nate Oates is absurd, man.
I love it. They're all going down. St. John's, Gonzaga, Purdue, they're all going down to the Crimson Tide. I can't wait for it. That's a place where I think I do it. I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think I do a pretty decent job staying objective about football. I don't do a good job staying objective about basketball. I don't.
Really?
Basketball puts me into some kind of a mood. So I'm excited about the season bigly. Let's turn our attention, Theo, to football, because it is a big weekend. You got your student ticket? You ready to roll? Or are you going to be up there with us?
Yeah, I did not get my credential. Chris said there's just too much like national media comments. They rejected my credential. So I will be in the stadium, unfortunately. But hey, I mean, getting to go to an Alabama-Tennessee game, and I will be indulging in a cigar post-game with the win. So can't complain about that.
So it's on you to be in the stadium. You said you are going to be in the stadium.
Yes.
So it's on you in the stadium to rally the troops around you. Kalen DeBoer has asked for a rowdy crowd, and we've talked about the crowd consistently through the year about, is it going to be big? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be rowdy? This is a chance to, hey, it's first down. It's 1st and 10. It doesn't matter if it's 3rd and 10, if the team just got a sack or scored a touchdown. It's first down. The kickoff just happened. We're not sitting down. It's 1st and 10. Joey Aguilar's on the field. We're going to, yell at them, get going. It's on you. You're going to be responsible for your little section. Give them the wave, be bold, and everybody stand back up. Don't sit down. Name them and shame them, and keep them on their feet, because Tennessee's coming in town. And Kalen has asked multiple times this week for a rowdy crowd. Do you think they're going to deliver?
Yeah, look, man, I think that when they're going to deliver, but obviously I've been hearing, I've been critical of the fan base lately, but they've turned me around. They've changed my mind on it. I understand their perspective now, because you see, if you leave the games in the 4th quarter before it ends, you get into all the bars with a lower cover, and you don't have to wait in line. So I've been put in my place there. So it's okay. Everyone can just head out with 6 minutes. You wouldn't want to wait on that line, would you?
Well, I'm not really. I'm past the going to the bars age, per se. So that's not a factor on my radar here.
It is. Look, I know I've been so critical of this fan base this week and in the last weeks, but it is for good reason, man. It could be a close game, and you'll still see people leaving the student section to get to the strip. Like, it is just, I get mad thinking about it, man.
Yeah. Well, I think that I've kind of dogged Tennessee's defense in a lot of our group chats, but I want to point out an area that's going to maybe be a problem for Alabama. as the Crimson Tide takes on Tennessee at 6:30 right there on ABC in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Tennessee has a wide receiver who I think is going to be kind of, a problem. Now, he's not Ahmad Hardy running the football level of a problem, but I do think Chris Brazzell is a really, really nice player for Tennessee. I think Chris Brazzell can become an issue for Alabama secondary. 6'5", 200 pounds. What I've noticed from Tennessee's offense over watching several of these games is they still spread you out a pretty decent amount, and so you still are having somewhat light boxes, but it's not quite the same. I think Joey Aguilar is pretty talented in reading the RPO, and I do think Deshaun Bishop is a really good running back for Tennessee. He's kind of listed as probable, or he was listed as probable on last night's injury report. So you can basically bet on him giving it a go this coming week. He did get hurt in last week's Arkansas game towards the end of it, but I think he's pretty explosive, and I think he's a pretty good running back. Is he Dylan Sampson? No, I don't think he's Dylan. Like last year, Dylan Sampson was an absolute monster. I think Dylan Sampson was a really, really, really good running back last season. But Deshaun Bishop's not quite Dylan Sampson, but I do think he is a really, really good running back. That's Tennessee football, and they've got another running back as well. So they basically split carries between Deshaun Bishop and Star Thomas. Star Thomas also getting basically one carry less than Deshaun Bishop. But on one carry less, 150 yards fewer. Deshaun Bishop 481 on 63 carries. Star Thomas 328 on 62 carries. Now, they both kind of got it done as far as getting into the end zone and the red zone. Deshaun Bishop 5 times, Star Thomas 4 times, and Peyton Lewis has gotten in the end zone 5 times as well. It's Peyton Lewis 200 yards on 43 carries. So 3 different running backs really shouldering the load for Tennessee, and obviously Joey Aguilar has proven that he can run as well, but they don't lean on it that much. They did give him a few design carries in the Mississippi State game, 26 carries, 117 yards, and 2 touchdowns for quarterback Joey Aguilar. I do think he can run, but he's much more of a move to pass kind of a quarterback rather than a designed runner. He'll hit you on a QB read here and there, but that's not a major part of their offense. But what I do think Aguilar does well is hit you in the RPO game. So I think you're going to be left a lot of one-on-ones with the Tennessee wide receivers. And I like the Tennessee wide receivers. They're not Alabama's trio. They're not Alabama's trio of Isaiah Horton, Jeremy Bernard, and Ryan Williams. But Chris Brazzell, Brandon Staley, and Mike Matthews are all talented SEC receivers. Chris Brazzell, 32 receptions. Brandon Staley, 31 receptions. Mike Matthews, 25 receptions. But you look at the yardage, there's a significant difference. Chris Brazzell, 536. Brandon Staley, 431. And Mike Matthews, 416. And then as far as touchdown scoring goes, Chris Brazzell, 7. Brandon Staley 2, and Mike Matthews 2 as well. So a pretty big jump as far as yardage and touchdowns. Chris Brazzell getting down the field on a lot of these secondaries. And it makes me wonder, what will Alabama do with Chris Brazzell, with his size, 6'5", 200 pounds, and with his playmaking ability? In a lot of these games, he has been physical at the reception point, basically high pointing the football. You all saw him play Tennessee. You all saw the look he put on Josh Pate's face as he was standing in the end zone, basically on one of those deep shots where he might have pushed off. He might have been more physical with the defensive back, but he did come down with the football and scored a big play. And Josh Pate standing in the end zone, jaw dropped and eyes wide open because it wasn't an impressive play. Well, Chris Brazzell in the Mississippi State game made another play just like that. Huge touchdown reception, ultimately did get called back because he did shove the Mississippi State defender to the ground. But that's a ref's discretionary call. Will they call that in Tuscaloosa? Will they call that on Xavier Brown, on Damani Jackson, on Dijon Lee, whoever ends up on Chris Brazzell? We heard from Kane Womack this past Monday because he was asked about Dijon Lee and him playing over Damani Jackson, and he talked about, well, Damani put some things on tape that we've got to answer for, and Dijon Lee got into the game, and we like what he did, XYZ, ABC, kind of being soft with his answer about, yeah, we benched Damani. He didn't out and out say it, but he was kind of teasing it a little bit. So I think that it's a matchup problem when you look at the Tennessee offense comparatively to the Alabama defense, and I'm wondering, Theo, how in the world Alabama's going to do, what they're going to adjust, or what's going to be their strategy. Chase Goodbread essentially said, "Are you going to have Dijon Lee shadow Chris Brazzell, left side, right side, follow him around, just basically trail him and cover him?" Because obviously we know Dijon Lee is extremely tall as well, long and lanky. And Kane Womack kind of said, well, maybe, but the pace and tempo makes that very challenging to do. So as you're looking at this matchup, what do you think Alabama's defense is going to do defending Chris Brazzell?
Well, I think you first got to look at what Arkansas did last week, because Arkansas's – I've watched the majority of every Tennessee game, watched all Arkansas last week, and it really felt to me like they were the first team to truly build their defensive game plan around stopping him. And, you know, you just look at how often he was double-teamed, how many times they used brackets to guard him. And, you know, Tennessee made him pay. This guy, Staley, stepped up, got the job done. And Alabama is obviously we cannot deal with that. So I think that it makes sense in my mind, just from I'm playing NCAA right now, and I've got to find a way to deal with this guy. Like, it makes sense to shadow DJ in my mind, at least. But DeBoer gave his take on that, so I am concerned. It is a team that has struggled with physicality. It is we've got a cornerback that likes going out of bounds instead of making hits at times. It really does feel like this is a guy who, not to get too pessimistic here for all the Bama fans listening, it does feel like a guy who could catch. I don't want to traumatize the fan base by saying the name Jalen Hyatt, but like a crazy performance like that, especially if this game is on the higher scoring side, like I think it is, like, could be a thing where, okay, we're trying to find an answer for this guy and we just can't.
I think, I think the Jalen Hyatt comparison may be a little strong, but I do think he's a really talented receiver. 5 receptions in the first game against Syracuse. Just looking at the major games, if you cut out UAB and ETSU, that's 14 receptions for 187 yards and 3 touchdowns off of his mark. He went 5 against Syracuse, 62, no touchdowns. 6 for 177 and 3 touchdowns against Georgia. Now, I think Georgia's secondary is pretty suspect. I think we saw that in Sanford Stadium. He went 6 receptions, 105 and 1 touchdown against Mississippi State. And then, as you said, Arkansas really, really limited him this past week. Only 1 reception for 5 yards the entire game. I think that what you're going to do is essentially have Keon Sabb play in kind of a shadow over him with whichever corner ends up on him. Whether it be Xavier or whether it be, I think it's going to either be Xavier or Dijon Lee. I don't know. I think Damani's going to play for sure this Saturday, but I think that Damani's still going to be limited to sub packages. to where, okay, we got to get an extra defensive back on the field. We're either putting Damani or we're putting Deshaun Jones on the field, or Zay Mincy. And Zay Mincy is really, really long as well. So you've got length in the secondary that can deal with him. No, nobody in the secondary is 6'5", but I do think there are options. And what you really got to do, I think, is be physical with them at the line of scrimmage, and you've got to play the high point. What I would play the high point conservatively, because when you look at some of these highlights, he's high pointing the ball better than the defensive backs. Which, okay, his height, his athletic ability. But what's happening is they're all coming to the ground. Brazzell and the defensive back, they are coming to the ground. The defensive back is falling, not getting his footing, is slipping, and that's where Brazzell's making a lot of his yards after the catch. I think you kind of just got to try to keep this guy in front of you, and if he is high pointing the football, okay. Instead of the buttons, if you hit triangle, you play the ball. If you hit X, you play the man, right? Just hit X, play the man. Don't worry. You gave up a big reception. All right, no problem. That stinks. It's going to sting a little bit, but let's play the next play. Let's tackle him to the ground. Let's not let everybody go to the ground and him juke you out of your shoes or stiff arm you to the ground to what he did. I mean, against Georgia, they were all trying to make interceptions. They were all trying to knock the ball out, high pointing the ball, and not coming to the ground with their footing. And Brazzell kept his footing and ran to the end zone for touchdowns. Did the same thing against Mississippi State on this play that was overturned. So I think he's a good little weapon. But I mean, he's not the best receiver in the SEC, and maybe Chris Brazzell is a nice little warm up for what will be the season finale against Cam Coleman, who is just an absolute monster. I think. I'm not sitting here scared of a Jalen Hyatt performance. I know that name's right there, fresh on your mind as a New York Giant, but I think that. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player that you got to have a plan for.
I think that, all right, the Hyatt thing may be a little strong, like you said, as far as will he go for 5 touchdowns? Probably not. Will he make Alabama fans get really upset and agitated at the defense during the game at multiple points? I absolutely think so. I absolutely think that he will be – trying to think how to word this. I think he will be one of the most frustrating players that Alabama goes against all year.
I agree with that.
I think a lot of that is purely because Alabama's defense has shown that he is the exact kind of player that should be succeeding against this team. This is a very flawed defense, and this is, a unit that I think will 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. That doesn't sound crazy to say in my mind.
I think that's about right. I think that's about your ceiling there. I think you're trying to limit him to 4 receptions, 80 yards, and a touchdown. You're trying
I'd take that in a heartbeat if I'm Alabama, right?
Yeah. And like that stat line might still make the Crimson Tide fans feel like, oh, that's a bad day. That's a bad day defensively. But if you're limiting him to 4 or 5 receptions, 85 yards, and a touchdown, I think you're walking away thinking, okay, we did a pretty good job on him. What you don't want to have happen is 7, 8, 9 receptions, 180 yards, 2, 3 touchdowns. I mean, look at the Georgia performance. He absolutely kept Tennessee in this game.
Yes.
With his performance. 6 catches, 177, and 3 touchdowns. His average reception, 29.5 yards a reception. That is that is scary. I mean, UAB did a good little job against him. 5 catches, 62 yards, and a touchdown. Average 12 yards a catch. His second lowest yards per reception for the season. And Syracuse did a pretty good job as well. 5 receptions, 62 yards, no touchdowns. I think you're trying to hold him in that range. 5 receptions, 50, 60, 70 yards. And if you give up a touchdown because one of those receptions is in the red zone, well, you say you wipe your hands and you move on.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I do really think, and look, I've been wrong saying this before on the Georgia game where I thought that was going to be a shootout, and this one to me feels absolutely like it will be a shootout. And I think Brazzell will be the highest receiver as far as total yards goes on either side in this matchup. But I think both teams will be in the 30s. That is the kind of game I'm expecting out of this. And, like DeBoer said, I mean, pacing and all that will factor into flow of the game, will affect how he's guarded. And, I think there'll be a lot of offense from a lot of different players, but he will absolutely. I mean, he is the heart and soul of this Tennessee team. But what does worry me is, what we saw the Volunteers do with Staley, I pulled up the numbers, 6 catches for 109 yards. Like, you keep your eyes off Brazzell too much, and here's another guy that, he finds a seam and, oh, wait, we just gave up 40 yards on this play, and they're all of a sudden in field goal range. That can absolutely pile up. And because when you got a guy like that, 2-3 catches that he makes throughout the game is night and day difference. And I'm moderately worried about this Alabama secondary.
I think you should be, concerned going into the game. I do think that Caden Womack's going to have a pretty decent little plan. I've enjoyed the way he has played the game week to week to week to week. Caden Womack, that is, and kind of just played the particular matchups. And I think, it's going to be interesting to see his chess match this Saturday night against this Tennessee offense. Because I think if you limit the Tennessee offense, you're going to be just fine. I've started to feel like this game is going to be almost, I think Tennessee's going to score, but I'm starting to feel like this game might end up in blowout territory. Let's hit a small break, Theo. I know you got to get out of here, and I'll tell you why. And you can debate me if you think this is going to be leaning towards blowout territory. We want to thank Strength Roofing and Siding for sponsoring the program. When severe weather strikes, your roof is your home's first line of defense. Storms with high winds, heavy rain, and hail can cause serious damage that isn't always visible from the ground. At Strength Roofing and Siding, we specialize in storm and hail damage, roof repair, and restoration across central Mississippi and Alabama, providing fast inspections, expert repairs, and insurance claim support to help you recover quickly and protect your home. A professional assessment from a trusted roofer is essential. With over 45 years serving Alabama and Mississippi, Strength Roofing and Siding provides expert storm damage and roof repair and replacement. Call them now for your free no-risk inspection at 205-858-9050. My man Zach Guffey would love to come out and check out your roof, give you the peace of mind that you need as you enter into the winter season. Call them today at 205-858-9050. That's Strength Roofing and Siding. They can provide service for anywhere in Alabama and Mississippi. They'd love to come out and figure out what you need. If your roof is A-okay, if you need replacement, they'll work with your insurance agent if you do. So call them today at 205-858-9050. All right, we're hanging out with just a few more minutes with Theo Fernandez on a Thursday morning. Want to remind you, tomorrow's program will have Caleb Sisk from Tennessee Volunteers on SI breaking down the Tennessee perspective, and we'll get some of his thoughts on several of these topics we've talked about this week. Theo, I want to ask you, is Alabama better than Mississippi State, Arkansas, Georgia? Okay, debatable, but is Alabama better than Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Syracuse?
Yes.
So what are we doing sitting here worried about this game? Because you said you watched the Arkansas game. Great. I watched the last two, Arkansas and Mississippi State. I watched a little bit of the Syracuse game. These teams imploded and gave the games away to Tennessee. Arkansas with how many turnovers? 3 or 4 turnovers? 3 or 4 turnovers, 3 at least. I think it was 4, but 3 at least. And setting Tennessee up in the red zone. Mississippi State with multiple turnovers. One of them was a pick 6 for Tennessee. Like, and Mississippi State was up 7 on Tennessee with 3-4 minutes left of the game, 2-3 minutes left of the game. Tennessee marches down and scores to tie the game, to take it to overtime. Mississippi State couldn't get the stop to keep them off the field to win the game. Mississippi State had them. They had them. Arkansas really, with fired coach, actually with interim coach Bobby Petrino, goes into Knoxville and runs the football effectively, runs the football well, and it was Taylor Green sacks fumble, multiple turnovers for Taylor Green, handing the game to Tennessee on a silver platter. This Tennessee defense is not good down to down. They're not good down in and down out. What they do well is create havoc plays with sacks and turnovers. So look, we can be worried about the sacks. I think that's a legitimate worry with Alabama's offensive line, but Alabama, knock on wood, has protected the football very, very well this season. A turnover against Vanderbilt, a turnover against Missouri, those are not good. You have a turnover on the first drive of the Vanderbilt game and a turnover on the first play of the second half in the Missouri game. Those are not good, and at least in the Missouri case, it kept the Tigers in the game. If you just protect the dadgum football and execute offensively, this should be a blowout.
Blowouts should be a blowout, I think, is strong.
Define blowout. 17 points, is that a blowout? 21, is that a blowout?
The kind of game that I see here is close late in the third quarter. Maybe Alabama pulls ahead and is up 2 scores. Where it ends at like a 10 or 14 point game, or maybe even Tennessee scores, cuts it to 1 score, Alabama runs out the clock. Like a kind of thing like that is the way that I see this thing going. But I don't think it'll be the kind of game where Alabama can let up at all in the fourth quarter and think, good job, we won this game.
Well, I don't think the let up is going to be there. I think offensive execution is going to be asked for the entire game. And I think that you're going to get to halftime. Alabama's going to be up 3, up 7, maybe even tied. You get out of halftime, you stretch the lead a little bit in the third quarter. You stretch it even further in the fourth, because I think Tennessee's going to start getting kind of playing the game flow, throwing the football. I like Joey Aguilar. I don't love him. I think he's a good SEC quarterback. He's not Ty Simpson level picking people apart, but he's better than Bo Pribula as far as passing the football. Is he Gunnar Stockton? Maybe a hair better than Gunnar passing the football.
I think so.
But I do like him. I know I was out on him in the summer after watching him this season, this week, watching all his performances. I think he's a good quarterback. I do. I think he's a good quarterback who can keep Tennessee hanging around. But defensively, all you got to do, Alabama, get a couple of stops. I don't see Tennessee's defense really stopping Alabama's offense. I see Alabama's offense stopping Alabama's offense. Alabama's offense, maybe you don't run the football. Maybe Ty Simpson misses a pass. That's what slows them down. I think that this Tennessee secondary is horrible. I think that in this past game against Arkansas, they played a lot of zone defense. They're playing a lot of cover 3. I know against Georgia, they're playing a lot of man-to-man, and Gunnar Stockton just picked them apart in man-to-man. They're already not going to have Jamon McCoy. He's kind of been out pretty much most of the year. They play zone defense against Arkansas, and Taylor Green ends up with a huge game against them. Now, obviously, turned the football over too much, but Ty Simpson hasn't turned the football over, and there's no reason to expect him to creep up with a lot of turnovers. If you protect his blind side in this Arkansas game, they ended up getting a couple strip sacks because just coming off the edge and hammering them. Same in the Mississippi State game. The Mississippi State, they had 2 defensive scores. They had a sack fumble for a defensive score and a pick 6 against Blake Shapen and Mississippi State. Is Alabama's offense going to spot Tennessee 14 points? You'd
hope. Yeah, you wouldn't think so.
I think that's unrealistic. So if you're better than Mississippi State and Arkansas, which, dear Lord, I hope you are, Alabama. If you're expecting to go where you're expecting to go, I hope you're better than State and Arkansas. Are you going to spot this Tennessee team 14 points because of your offense? No, you're at the minimum, you're punting the football away and you're making Tennessee drive. And Tennessee's offense is good. I do think Tennessee's offense is pretty talented. I think their offensive line, while a hair beat up, is pretty solid. And I think these running backs are pretty good. And I think they got a pretty good wide receiver core and a pretty good quarterback. I don't necessarily see anybody that's like, oh man, that's a first-round pick. That's a scary player. Like, I thought Ahmad Hardy was a scary player, and I thought Alabama's defense answered the call very well, plugging the holes. Now, they didn't do a great job keeping the backside plugged up, but because he slipped out and got to the backside several times. But as far as plugging the hole where the play was designed to go, the Alabama defense really did a good job with that this past Saturday. For the most part, I know he ripped a couple good yard runs, but I don't see any player on this Tennessee offense that's like, oh my gosh, that's a player that terrifies me. I do think Chris Brazzell is a good player, and I do think he's got some talent and has a skill set that can get after, keep Tennessee on the field, keep Tennessee in some big plays. But I don't know, Theo. All my eyes over watching the Tennessee this week start to tell me if Alabama doesn't absolutely fall on its face and give the game away, they're going to blow them out right here in Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Wow. That would be, as someone who wants to enjoy the night in Tuscaloosa now that I'm not working, I would love for that to be correct. But I think that this game will still be up in the air at the 2-minute warning.
Oh, wow. All right.
I think whether that's Tennessee has a drive to tie to take a lead, or Alabama has the ball and needs to run out the clock to ice the game, I think that at the 2-minute warning, we will not know for sure who is going to win the football game.
Well, don't light up early then.
I will not be.
He's Theo Fernandez. Theo, you want to give anybody any final thoughts before you get out of here? I'll check in about Football Friday. I really haven't done that. I have no idea who all is going to be on. I know I'm going to have Caleb Sisk on from Tennessee Volunteers on SI. We're going to have about 20-25 minutes with him. But you want to give anybody some final thoughts for the day before you get out of here and go on to class?
No, I mean, just that if you have Joe's perspective on Alabama potentially beating Tennessee by a big margin, I personally think that's misguided. It's a combination of, flaws that I think I've picked up on in Alabama's football team. And then, I've been high on Aguilar the whole time.
He's a good player. He is a good player.
I think he's a good player. I think he's offensively been the guy that I thought he would. And I think that we find out on Saturday just how legit of a team Tennessee is, right? Like, this is you took the loss to Georgia. Your back's against the wall now. You can afford this loss, but then you'd have to run the table. It's kind of put up or shut up time right now for Tennessee. And I think they'll be up for the task in the sense that, Alabama is going to have to fight tooth and nail for a win in Bryant-Denny. I think they'll win the game, but I think that this thing will be a lot closer maybe than Joe's talking about.
Well, we will certainly find out this Saturday night, 6:30. Make sure you follow all our coverage at BamaCentral.com. Katie Wyndham, myself, Will Miller, Hunter DeCiver will be in the Bryant-Denny Stadium press box. Very blessed to be there this Saturday. Cannot wait to get into it on a Football Friday with many more of our friends. We'll check in on who we're going to have. We will at least have a segment with Caleb Sisk from Tennessee Vols on SI as he breaks down the Vols from his side of things and what their season has looked like. Big thanks to Theo Fernandez. Theo, have a great day, my man. Follow him at Theo Fernandez _. Great. Follow him at Theo Fernandez _. We're going to get out of here for the day. We appreciate everybody who's watched us. I know this week's been a little funny as far as locations and times, but we had a lot of fun with all our friends this week. We will be back in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios tomorrow morning. Cannot wait for that. Call Derek for all your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. Home, life, auto insurance needs. He can take care of you like a good neighbor. Derek Daniel is there. We appreciate our guys at Strength Roofing and Siding for providing all kinds of protection for us. You can call Strength Roofing and Siding. Get your peace of mind. Make sure that your roof is in good shape at 205-858-9050. Go subscribe to the show on Bama Central or YouTube channel. You got a lot of great coverage of all kinds of things this week. They were in Birmingham for the Bama Central YouTube channel. I know my man Hunter Decipher is going to be up at Bama in Boutwell tonight for the Florida State matchup. He's going to have you some post-game coverage right there on the YouTube channel, and we're going to have a lot more going on that channel as well. We had a great day with you. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you again on Friday on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.